Well, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the channel. Tomorrow is the big day for AMC stock. We are going to get AMC earnings in after hours tomorrow. Now, it looks like you have confirmed this rally. It looks like the NASDAQ is confirmed. It's going higher from here. The Fed confirmed it today, kind of. But you need that final confirmation from Fed Jerome Powell, and he will be speaking tomorrow morning. That will be a critical catalyst before AMC earnings. Now, in this video, we're going to go over what the data currently looks like, what I think is going to happen for AMC stock earnings, and where I think AMC stock is going next. So hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, source your comments, questions, or concerns down below in the comment section because it's free 99. It costs you absolutely nothing to do so, and hopefully helps push this information out to as many people as possible that need to hear it. So first things first, let's jump into what is going on today in the markets. It's simple. It's all about the Fed speakers. That's what it was about. We had one bond auction. It was the 3-year bond auction. Nothing came out of it. It was basically along the lines of expectations. So that was inherently good. If nothing went south or bad with those bond auctions, that's just seen as a good thing lately. Now, Fed Kashkari was the only one that sounded a little bit more maybe not so optimistic about inflation coming down, about maybe looser Fed policy. He just said that we can't say we've conquered inflation yet, that we might have to raise again. This would have been seen as very normal like a month ago, what he said. So markets did react a little bit to that in pre-market before we got some of the other Fed speakers. Now, Fed Goolsbee, like I said in the last video, he is the one that really sparked a lot of this rally. He says a golden path for a huge drop in inflation is possible without a recession. So that is like your soft landing narrative. And Fed Goolsbee reiterating that. Good news. You've seen other Fed speakers as well be pretty dang bullish, but none of that matters. Let's be honest. Those guys, they don't matter. They do not matter at all. You know who matters? Mr. Jerome Powell coming tomorrow at 10:15 a.m. You're going to get the speech from Powell. It's unclear whether or not he is going to comment on policy and give you any new information, new details. I imagine if we were going to get some big shift from Powell, we probably would have heard that shift kind of narrated to us from the other Fed speakers we have heard so far. Usually when they want to, give the markets a blow, like just hit the markets with good or bad news, they usually don't send Jerome Powell to shock the markets or spook the markets. They usually send a Goolsbee or a Kashkari or a Bostic, or it used to be Bullard in 2022. He was like this dove that would just say off the wall stuff. So yeah, we didn't hear anything crazy. So we're probably not going to get anything crazy. That's my expectations. I don't think Powell is going to be negative tomorrow, but it's a possibility. Really depends if Powell woke up on the right side of the bed, if he communicates clearly or not to the markets. That will be very, very important. Now, AMC stock specifically. And the markets, guys, the NASDAQ, look at the nasty NASDAQ. Hasn't been so nasty as of recently. It's going pretty vertical here. You went from down here at the lows of around 341. Now you're sitting at 372. You have went up $30 on the QQQ. You have went up 10% from the lows that you just had on October 26th. That has been a crazy rally, okay? And if you look at things like the RSI, you're actually not even oversold yet or overbought yet. That would be over 70. You're not even there yet. So there could be a little bit more room to rally before we do trade sideways. I expect at some point we will trade sideways. But look at this confirmation of this rally we've seen today. Look at that. You have your downtrending line of resistance connecting clearly. 1, 2, 3, 4 different touches. Well, technically, yesterday was 5 different touches because you did the same thing right here yesterday. Now, today, what happens? You went straight above that line. You came down in the beginning of trading, as you can see from the bottom end wick. You bounced right off of that line, like literally to the penny. To the penny, you bounced off the line and then proceeded to go higher and found that as support, and it was off to the races. So this is the clearest sign of higher prices to come in the NASDAQ. You don't want to be betting against our markets right now, especially after this. If you were a bear, you wanted to see the NASDAQ get rejected here and come down, not gap up above that line. So the bears, you better watch out because the bulls are coming for you. Nonetheless, I think that's going to be a positive thing for AMC stock. Now, although today we just didn't see good things for AMC, I don't think this, what we've seen today, necessarily has to mean all too much heading into AMC earnings, or that we're like predestined to have bad earnings, or we're gonna have even good earnings for that matter. Nobody really knows. The expectations have gotten much better for earnings. 3 months ago, as I've said before, the EPS estimates were negative 80 cents. Today, they're negative 25 cents. Revenue estimates coming in at about $1.25 billion, as high as $1.3 billion. On the low end, about $1.15 billion. So as long as you come in between like, 1.25 billion, 1.3 billion, you're going to be okay. Anything lower than that, anything higher than that, that's going to be good. But it's really going to come down to the EPS numbers, and that expectation of negative 25 cents. Still a loss. And 2 quarters ago, we actually had a net profit of about $8 million. Can AMC somehow pull a rabbit out the hat, get us to a net profit this quarter? If they could do that, theoretically, AMC stock is going much higher just following earnings, right? The rest of this week. If not, I think the stock is priced for a pretty bad outcome already. There's not a lot of good things priced into AMC stock, especially after this almost 7% drop you're seeing today. Anyone that was fearful, heading into earnings, well, they got out of their positions today. Really right off the bat today. I think you just seen a lot of aggressive shorting more than anything else, because it was just red candle after red candle after red candle. And these were not small. I mean, these were like 1.5%, 2%, 1 minute candles. So you basically just went vertically downwards. And then you kind of bounced and continued to trend lower as the sellers, shorts essentially, really started to pile onto those positions. So there is that. Again, you do have some China data coming tomorrow night at about 9:30 p.m. But again, the big story is going to be Fed Jerome Powell, and I think it's simple. Is Powell bullish? Is Powell bearish? If Powell is bullish and he is okay with what the markets are doing, this rally and bond yields falling confirms this rally, stocks are going higher. If Powell does not confirm this rally and he says something the markets do not like, markets could still fall from here. So it's not a certainty that stocks are just going to do well from here. No, you have to get Powell confirming it. I think what we've seen today with the technicals is very supportive of what could be a very supportive Fed Jerome Powell as well to our markets, but that is far from a certainty. So come to your own conclusions, do your own, research, all of that. You're investing your money. You're not investing my money or anyone else's money. Don't invest or trade anything that you do not understand or you do not know how to use risk management practices. Contact a financial advisor if you have any questions on any of this, but I am not one, so do not listen to essentially what I say. Now, let's look at the Stock Tracker data. I do think there is a potential for a gamma squeeze this week if we did see good earnings. Now, you do have calls in the money of about 11,000, calls out the money almost 74,000. It's 73,000, about 500. Puts in the money 8,000, puts out the money at about 31,500. Now, let's take a look at some of the option activity that we are seeing on Let's see, option activity, AMC. So there's a decent amount of call activity here just outside the money. You have 3,500, 5,600, almost 5,000, about 7,000, 3,000, and then 15,000 at that $13 call. If you can get above that $13 call or to that $13 call, you could see a lot of momentum higher from there. And just remember, we were just a couple of days ago in the $11 range. So $13 is really not that far, out there anyways. And I think that's where we're headed. That's just my opinion. So I obviously don't trade that, but that's my opinion. Now, the option activity, you have seen 4 orders totaling about $100,000 today with a positive order value of 25%. If you look at the put to call ratio, that is at 0.66. Again, one of the most bullish, if not the most bullish stocks you will find with option activity right now. There's nothing I can find that is more bullish than that. The numbers here look pretty much the same from the last video. You have short interest on free float, 6.54%, $139 million worth of short positions. And you have days to cover of about 0.64. 13 million shares sold short. Shares out on loan, 15.57 million. Cost to borrow, 1.32. Utilization of 34 and short score of 51.4. So there you have that data. I don't really think there's anything else to say in this regard. Let me know what you guys think about this down below in the comment section. Are you bullish or are you bearish? I think personally, as long as Fed Jerome Powell doesn't come in and hurt the markets too bad, or as long as AMC earnings are not pitiful, like you're going to have some pitiful earnings if you're AMC to see the stock fall. In the grand scope of things, AMC stock is still trading at where it was back in January of 2021. Like, you're lower than that right now. It's January 2021 lows, like when the stock was literally priced for bankruptcy. What do you think it's priced for now? Not great things, okay? So dilution is also another risk I think I should point out. That is just, with AMC, it's a pure wild card. You never know what they're going to say about dilution. But nonetheless, those are kind of my opinions on the situation. I think AMC stock could easily make its way into the high teens on a really good earnings report. Maybe a beat to guidance, beat to numbers. If AMC were to actually turn a profit, that's where I think you could get a pretty aggressive short squeeze just based on the fundamentals alone. Not to mention, I do think a lot of shorts are hiding their short positions right now, and that's, that's unfortunate, but we'll know when we know, because even if you're hiding your short position, you're still going to have to cover on it eventually, even if you're hiding it with a put. If you start to get blown out of your position, you're going to see, you ever seen that whack-a-mole game, right, where you play it in the arcade and it's like 1 or 2 whack-a-moles pop up and you're trying to hit them? Well, just imagine when you flood out the hive, how many moles are going to be coming out of the freaking ground, okay? I know, very weird example. I don't know why that popped in my head, but I think it is a pretty good way to understand it. There's a lot under the surface that you just don't know about yet until there is a crisis, and then you're going to know about it, and it's gonna be aggressive. That's just my personal opinion. If you look at the MACD, that is pretty dang bullish. If you look at the RSI, that is right on neutral, almost as close as neutral as you're possibly ever going to get on any single day, at 49.94, like 6 basis points off of exactly neutral. So there's no clear direction here. AMC stock is at $10.23, still well off the low of $7.05. But decently off of the high as well at $11.50 per share. Your next major level of resistance, besides any psychological levels, which could be, $13.50, that could be $15, that could be $17, that, $20. You're going to have that 100-day moving average at about $23.20 per share. And that's your next major resistance level, guys. So That is going to go ahead and do it for this video. Hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and source your comments, questions, or concerns down below in the comment section. You guys have a great rest of your day, and I will see you in the next one.